Sarah says, hi, question. If you have already hooked up, how do you backtrack, or is it game over? Well, it's not necessarily game over, right? You just want to make sure that you're setting things up so that you're not getting weird, right? Because a lot of times men or women get weird after hooking up together, and then it's like this weird thing where they're like, do you love me? Right? And it's like, wow, this is weird. We're just having fun. Right? And instead, what you want to do is continue to be a challenge, continue to have standards, continue to have preferences, continue to do all those things that we were just talking about in order to get more access to you, to spend more time with you, assuming that he enjoyed the time that he has spent with you already, which hopefully he has, and hopefully you've created good experiences with him. And, I mean, as long as he has a deep emotional connection, or if he himself is not in abundance, he's in scarcity, guys are far more likely, if they are in scarcity, to look at you and have one-itis and be like, oh, she's so amazing and all that kind of stuff, right? It's not the end. It's not the end if you hook up with a guy. It can be. It can be, right? If you don't build an emotional connection, if there's, nothing there, if he's in abundance, if, it was just this fun thing that you guys had and he doesn't really like you that much or whatever, if he's not really ready, if there are all those things that you didn't end up asking and talking about because you were so sucked into the moment instead of actually having a conversation with him and finding out things and using your brain and your heart, it could be over after that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And so if you are in that situation, you just want to make sure that you continue to be a challenge, that you continue to connect with him when you do connect with him in a positive way that makes him feel really good about himself. Don't get weird on him. If you feel like you're getting too attached, pull back. Make sure that you're getting yourself into abundance, especially if you haven't talked about exclusivity, if you haven't talked about a relationship, any of that kind of stuff. You want to be in abundance until one of these guys does that with you. And so that's really what you want to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's game over, but you can't backtrack, right? Backtracking is really, really difficult to do. If all of a sudden you're like, no, we're not doing that anymore, and we're backtracking and you need to do these things, right? It doesn't work very well because it feels really kind of gross and manipulative to him. And so you don't want to backtrack, and you don't want to start kind of throwing things on top of them there. But you do want to have standards and all those kinds of things. The question is he going to meet those standards? Is he that interested in you really, right? And you don't know that, and you're not going to know that until you start putting those standards in place. And it sucks because you've already taken that risk and you've already slept with him, and you may have already started feeling a lot for him and even more for him because you slept with him. And so you just want to be smart in the future and just do smart things and make sure that he's, doing things the right way.